Carmen está bailando por las calles de Sevilla. Tiene blancos los cabellos y brillantes las pupilas. Niñas corren las cortinas, niñas corren las cortinas. Niñas corren las cortinas. Soñando en el baile con galanes de otros días. Niñas corren las cortinas, niñas corren las cortinas. Niñas corren las cortinas. Corazones andaluces, sem você, Carolina, hoje eu posso cantar na avenida da vida. Vou sambar, vou sambar. Sem você, Carolina, hoje eu posso cantar na avenida da vida. Vou sambar, vou sambar. Foi então, me vi num beco sem saída. Vou seguir na estrada com a mão varrida. E foi então, me vi num beco sem saída. Vou seguir na estrada você, Carolina, hoje eu posso cantar. Na avenida, na vida, vou sambar, vou sambar. Sem você, Carolina, hoje eu posso cantar. Na avenida, na vida, vou sambar, vou sambar. Carolina linda, loura, entrou em minha vida e me cegou, máscara ferida. Com você foi tudo festa, mera fantasia. Você levou a clareza do meu dia. Sem você, Carolina, hoje eu posso cantar. Na avenida, na vida, vou sambar, vou sambar. Sem você, Carolina, hoje eu posso cantar. Na avenida, na vida, vou sambar, vou sambar.
pasado que añoro, el tiempo Hola, hola.
Hello.
Bienvenidos, bienvenidas, bienvenides.
Welcome.
I'm Miguel Jimenez.
I'm Camila Foreman, and we are the hosts of the 2023-24 Lit Luz live magazine show, Chicago.
Woo! Now, every year the Lit Luz Festival feels really, really special, but this year it's actually really special because it's our 10th anniversary. So that means 10 years of experimentation,
10 years of creativity,
10 years of collaboration,
10 years of supporting artists,
10 years of crossing borders and artistic boundaries.
10 years of language, literature, and art.
And that's Make Literary Productions Lit and Luz Festival, which supports the creation of new art through international collaboration and makes space for essential dialogue between artists in the US and Mexico.
So, fun fact, this festival was born almost on a lark. It actually started with a series of events around Make Magazine's bilingual 13th issue. And through that, we learned some things, namely that this rich, diverse city is hungry to learn more about art produced right here and now, and how it intersects with that of innovative practitioners all across the globe, that we're all tethered together in this astounding, confounding world, and that there are remarkable individuals near and far who can help us face that and maybe even reconsider what's before us, whatever we're leaving behind. And we're also really good at throwing parties.
So sometimes a little too good. And
There's no too good.
This year's festival, we did a lot already. And so it started on Friday the 13th.
An auspicious day.
Very. And we started with re-encounters, reencuentros, an exhibit at the Chicago Art Department, which actually is on view until October 29th. Also, over 30 writers and artists have been featured in nearly 20 events throughout the city, all of which were connected by the theme of 10th anniversary. But not just 10 years of our history, but also an allusion to the Spanish word ten, a variation on to have.
So what do you, my friends, have before you? The live magazine show features 12 fantastic artists, 6 from Chicago and 6 from Mexico City. And since this summer, they have been meditating on this theme, and tonight is the debut of their collaborative artworks.
What do you say we let them know who these artists are?
I think that's quite wise.
All right, let's do it in the order of tonight's program. So I'll begin with Laura Latinsky, who unfortunately couldn't be with us here tonight. But Laura Latinsky is a Chicago-based visual artist, curator, and professor originally from Canada.
Isabel Zapata is a poet and essayist from Mexico City.
Aldalver Salas Hernandez is a Venezuelan poet, essayist, and translator based in Mexico City.
Edra Soto is a Puerto Rican artist, curator, and educator based in Chicago.
Nancy Garcia Loza is a playwright rooted in Chicago and Jalisco, Mexico.
Fernando Palma Rodriguez is an artist and mechanical engineer who lives and works in San Pedro Actopan, Mexico.
Carrie Olivia Adams is a Chicago-based poet and poetry editor.
Alejandro Almanza Pereira is a visual artist from Mexico City and Guadalajara.
Galia Ivanschutz, who unfortunately can't be with us here tonight. She's an artist, performer, and choreographer from Mexico City.
Juan Martinez is a Chicago-based writer and professor.
Flor Flores is a Chicago-based transdisciplinary artist and poet.
Last but not least, Maricela Guerrero is a poet and writer from Mexico City. Thank you.
Woo.
Tonight's event is bilingual. For live interpretation, use the QR code in your program to access the Live Voice app. Download, select your preferred language, and pop in your earbuds or headphones. Otherwise, please silence your cell phones. Also, our QR code will send you to our website where you can find more information about the performers and thematic descriptions in English and Spanish.
Now, before we start the show, we want to highlight the importance of our exchange with Mexico. We're honored to have the dedicated support of Ambassador Reyna Torres Mendivil, the Consul General of Mexico in Chicago.
Please welcome Ambassador Torres Mendivil.
Thank you so much. As every year, it's always a joy to be here. This is one of the most important dates in the calendar of the cultural events that we collaborate with at Consulate of Mexico. So I am really happy to share this night with you. This year is special, not only because it's 10 years of the festival, but it's also 5 years ago that we initiated this partnership with Lit Luz. So thank you to all the Lit Luz team, to the MCA, of course, and to the consulate and the members of the consulate that are very devoted to engaging in culture and arts, and we're really happy to promote these kinds of events. And just one last thing about why is this so important for us? Not only because it engages Mexico City and Mexico in general with Chicago, that is a very natural partnership at the end of the day. We may think it's, we're far away to different countries, but it's not only that we are neighboring countries. It has to do with the soul of each city. It has to do with the soul of Chicago. That part of the soul of Chicago is also Mexican, it's Latin. So we love that. But the other thing is, yes. But the other thing is that this is a very diverse festival. It expresses very much what the mood of the cities, both cities are. Is young, is fresh, and it always surprises us. So I am sure that as it happens with me every year, you're going to be surprised tonight, and you're going to be mesmerized with the art of these wonderful artists from both countries that participate tonight. So thank you. Thank you, Lit Luz, for this partnership, and for many years more. Thank you.
Now, let's get it started. Lit Luz writer in residence, internationally renowned painter and poet Valerie Mayer Caso of Mexico City will open tonight's event with a poem in Spanish, and New York-based Mexican filmmaker, actress, writer, and activist Oriana Mayer will read the English translation.
So please welcome Valerie Mayer Caso and Oriana Mayer.
Hola, buenas noches. Really, to celebrate Make, I wrote this poem called Hacer, that translates directly to make, and with enormous gratitude to Sarah Dodson, who should be working hard somewhere, and Daniel Borsuski, and all the people that are in Inverell that powerhouse for this joint effort to happen. So I'm going to read first the Spanish with my glasses, and there we go. So I quote a Polish poet that you must know as Czesław Miłosz, but a Polish guy told me that you actually pronounce it Czesław Miłosz. So that's a person. Hacer. Me preguntas cómo es rezar a alguien que no existe. Solo sé que la oración construye un puente de terciopelo. Czesław Miłosz. A propósito de la oración, una vez que varios se suman a cruzar el puente, lo construyen por el forzoso accidente que mancha los dedos, por el accidente de usar plumas fuentes para escribir poemas necesarios o devastadores o políticos, o sobre árboles sobrenaturales. Lo construyen con lo que deja atrás un derramamiento de sangre, con lápices de colores, con pedacitos de irlandesas ventanas rotas y con la mano de Víctor Jara, la única parte de su cuerpo destinada al paraíso. Hacer lo que sabemos, ir de la orilla central de un país a la orilla central de otra. Llorar por eso. Hablar del viaje con la voz ronca de beber un vodka ucraniano que sabe a pasto. A esto los arrojó su madre al mundo. Las madres de los que escriben los arrojó a decir cosas imposibles de decir, a vivir a cachetadas o a besos, o a vivir una vida típica. Así, aunque no haya otro paraíso que este, hacer una atadura del terciopelo entre las imaginaciones de dos naciones y hacerlo con la pandereta por 10 años, hacer eso como flotando. Así, hija mía, hermanos y amigos cercanos y amigos enormes, y también les hablo a ustedes, enemigos de las imaginaciones de maíz, con sus caras neutras de santo policía. Y a todos los que van a hacer algo bíblico, como por ejemplo, quemar los mandamientos, y aún así obedecer uno o dos de ellos, pero creer en la frase como forma capital de vivir. Por ninguna otra razón que imprimir sobre el papel cosas raras que sirven sin servir, dentro y fuera de la guerra y de las marchas que ocurren. Al decir hacemos, algo ayuda al territorio en ruinas, al territorio pisoteado por un rinoceronte enfurecido, pasando así de ser el rinoceronte imaginado por siglos, luego unicornio, luego real en los zoológicos, a luego escaparse durante los tsunamis y tal vez pronto extinto. Tenemos que hacer algo antes de balacear, ser todo a la vez. Y así nos queda el rinoceronte con sus varios caparazones, transportada de orilla a orilla del puente de Lezama, de tanto que hemos repetido su letanía, publicada tal vez en la revista Orígenes, no sé. Solo estoy segura de esta frase suya: un puente, un gran puente.
Chicago. Hi, guys. Okay. Czechla Miloš? Make. You ask me how to pray to someone that doesn't exist. I just know that a sentence builds a bridge made of velvet. Czechla Miloš. Regarding prayer, once several who join in crossing of the bridge and build it with the inevitable accent that stains their fingers from using fountain pens to write poems that are necessary or devastating or political or about supernatural trees. They build the bridge with what is left behind by bloodshed, with colored pencils, with the little pieces of the broken Irish windows, and with the hand of Victor Jara, the only part of his body destined for paradise. To make what we know, to go from the central shore of one country to the central shore of another, cry about it. Talk about the trip with voice made hoarse from drinking Ukrainian vodka that tastes like grass. The mother of the poets threw them into the world to think impossible things to say, and they lived to be slapped, or to be kissed, or even to live a typical life. Thus, although there is no other paradise than that, to say impossible things, make the velvet tie with the imaginations between two nations, and do it with a tambourine for 10 years. Make that as if floating. That way, daughter of mine, brothers, close and huge friends, I also speak to you, enemies of the corn imaginations with your neutral saint police faces, to all those who are going to make something biblical, such as burning the commandments and still obeying one or two of them, yet believing in the phrase as the capital way of flying, for no other reason than to print on paper strange things that help without helping. Inside and outside the ongoing wars and the marches, as we're saying the words, we make, something helps this territory in ruins. a territory trampled by an enraged rhinoceros, thus going from being imaginary for centuries, then a unicorn, to then real in zoos, to soon escaping during tsunamis, to then be extinct. We have to make something before shooting, to be everything perhaps, and so we are left with the rhino and his several shells transported from shore to shore. And suddenly we think of Lesamma's bridge, so much so that we repeat his prayer, published in the magazine Orígenes? I don't know. Just sure of this phrase by him, a bridge, a great bridge. Thank you.
Uno. Dicen que las cosas que se repiten muchas veces en la infancia se cristalizan en la memoria como si hubiesen sucedido una sola vez. Todos los recuerdos particulares, con sus pequeñas variaciones y titubeos, quedan depositados en una especie de recuerdo maestro sospechosamente parecido a la ficción. Los caramelos rojos de cereza son así. Los debo haber comido miles de veces, pero en mi mente fue solo una sombra reflejada en la pared de una caverna, un sabor imaginario, es decir, real.
10 sour cherry drops. No more or less, true or real, candy is to the photograph as the cherry is to the experience. She offers to me from the shiny gold round tin, adorned with a circular image of glossy blood red cherries, so different than the usual array of bargain basement, individually wrapped, too brightly colored cherries that were always slightly dusty, their transparent film sticking to them in the summer's humidity. These morsels red is softened pink by a powdery white sugar nestling each their autonomy. A combination of tart, sweet, hard milk perfumes the air. I am 10 years old. She's sleeping, maybe permanently, or maybe once more she'll wake up to recognize me and murmur no longer intelligibly her happiness at the visit by me, her granddaughter. For now, in the wake of sleep, not silence, but the disharmonious beeping of monitoring devices. On the table, along with flowers, magazines, and goodies brought by others to whom I am connected by our love of and for her, is a gold tin topped with a picture of cherries. I open. Unnuzzling from its cozy nest of confectioner's sugar, I lick my fingers as I put one in my mouth. The sicky sweet of the hospital air, wanting to be that of the cherries cold from the fridge. Cherry bomb.
3. No recuerdo cuándo adquirí conciencia de que mi mamá cocinaba fatal. Supongo que al principio no me importaba, pero un día empecé a recriminárselo. ¿Por qué cocinas tan feo, ma? Como respuesta, ella me contaba el cuento de la sopa de piedra, en el que un viajero llega a una pequeña aldea en busca de comida. Tras tocar varias puertas sin éxito, se instala en la plaza pública con una cacerola llena de agua de río, la pone al fuego y deja caer en ella una piedra. No pasa ni 5 minutos antes de que alguien se detenga a preguntarle qué está cocinando. Una sopa de piedra, está buenísima, ¿quieres? El aldeano dice sí y se ofrece a traer unas zanahorias de su huerto. Luego otra persona trae papas, salchichón, bellotas, una calabaza. Los ingredientes de la sopa cambian cada vez, pero el final feliz siempre es el mismo. El viajero saca la piedra de la olla y sirve platos rebosantes de sopa para todos. ¿Quién sabe qué me estaría intentando decir mi madre con esto de la sopa de piedra? Algo sobre la solidaridad frente a la escasez, una lección de astucia y gratitud. Pero también era otra cosa más personal y más críptica, como que los seres humanos tenemos preferencias muy diversas y cambiantes y por lo tanto es difícil estandarizarlas. Si a un pueblo entero pudo gustarle una sopa de piedra, decía mi madre sin decirlo, yo terminaría por disfrutar su cuestionable pollo a limón, sus frijoles medio quemados y los sándwiches de queso solito.
The youngest of her sisters, sent away from Russia's pogroms of the 1910s, she came to Canada where she learned the trade of sewing. As her eyesight failed, I would help her, threading needles, basting curtains and hems, and sorting fabrics. While other kids dressed in Kmart, Sears, and other 1970s lower-class fashion, I wore the well-intended, if ill-fitting clothes she made. Michael Pollan wrote, "Eat all the fast food you want, just make it yourself," asserting that if one had to go through all the effort of deep frying, baking, sauce making, etc., the bad effects of this diet would be avoided because of the relatively few times one would want to engage in such labor-intensive food preparation. Substituting fast food for fashion has been an effort to mitigate my desire for expensive, not needed clothes.
5. Fast forward a 2023. Yo me esfuerzo un poco más. Unto el pan con crema de almendra y mermelada, escojo frutas variadas y jugosas. También las loncheras han evolucionado, por suerte, y ahora existen unas cajitas parecidas a las bento box japonesas que mantienen todo ordenado y sin derrames. Mi hija Aurelia va a la escuelita con una lonchera así, y cuando la recojo me asomo para ver qué se comió y compartir los restos con Gala, su mejor amiga, que suele tener comida más rica. Mientras abro la mochila, Aurelia se queda mirándome, expectante, y yo me hago la sorprendida al descubrir que quedó. «Te comiste todas las uvas, muy bien». Este pequeño acto de sorpresa no es del todo falso. Sus horas en la escuela son las primeras que pasa completamente fuera de mi supervisión. Una probadita de vida independiente. ¿Cómo terminarán de mezclarse los ingredientes de sus gustos y preferencias? ¿Esa sopa de piedra que hierve vigorosamente? Por ahora se parece a mí. Le gustan las sopas, cenar una manzana con queso en su mesita de cama y el café. ¿Quieres un café blanco?, le pregunto para ofrecerle leche cuando me ve preparar la cafetera y siempre responde que sí. Se parece a su padre. Come chapulines, orgullosa, y nada la hace más feliz que un taquito de aguacate con limón. Sobre todo se parece a sí misma. Sopeo antes de dar sus primeros pasos y ama la catsup con devoción. Escoge qué helado quiere por su color, no por su sabor, y para eso tiene que inspeccionar cuidadosamente los congeladores hasta que un tono de rosa o verde la convence y dice, quiero ese. ¿Está bueno?
Taste has two meanings. One, referring to the mechanical physical experience of food that is also inflected upon by smell, not only in our mouth but in our noses, and the other, to our aesthetic inclinations, as in, she has good or bad taste. These are mostly thought to be separate, but our judgment is inherent in both. Like perception, taste is neither natural nor neutral. What X tastes like, salty, good, bad, is a perception that is the product of many factors, including not only X, but also who made it, what was eaten before, associations, conditioning, and expectations. The mouth is a sense organ, and the senses, albeit bodily, are inextricably linked to our mind. What X looks, tastes, smells, feels, sounds like, and these five senses are a small component of all of the senses we utilize in appraising X, is the result of imprinting previous sensations and experiences. There is the physical and the psychological, although which is which or which is what may be impossible to identify. I love awful, tender, almost overripe fruit, soft tomatoes confit in olive oil to make an intense tomato sauce I store through the winter. My 2 boys scoff at me, my youngest preferring Chick-fil-A or, with my credit card, fancy overpriced hamburgers with aioli fries.
7. Hace poco fuimos a un parque a las afueras de la ciudad con la famosa gala. Agotado el arenero y los columpios, decidí contarles a las niñas el cuento de la sopa de piedra e invitarlas a recoger hojas y piedritas para cocinarla. Me pareció una buena idea en ese momento. Traté de controlar lo que recogían y mantenerlas alejadas de la tierra. Todo fue en vano, claro. Agregaron al potaje lo que se les dio la gana, incluyendo gusanos y corcholatas, y no lo que las mamás les sugerimos. Y al poco rato las 2 estaban tan empanizadas en mugre que hubo que cambiarles la ropa. Esa sopa de piedra está medio rara, les dije, pero igual me comí el tazón entero. La incertidumbre no siempre es un trago amargo. A veces también es asombro y maravilla. Aceptar, soltar, observar. Eventualmente, cuando la sopa de sus preferencias se enfríe un poco, habré de probarla también. Hasta le voy a pedir un segundo plato.
Grumbles echoing in the emptiness of our bellies, otherwise silent. Shell shock from those we've known, now in pieces or dead, trying to get back to a home that maybe wasn't even there anymore. From their full cheeks and just stilled fires, they had enough to share but wouldn't. So many had passed through that we couldn't remember who was on our side or not, taking all and anything we had, leaving only desperateness and sometimes unwanted babies. What we were left with was secured, hidden underneath secret floorboards in the river's coolness, the barn's chambers. As no food or lodging was offered, a fire was started in the square to boil some water in a pot. A rock placed in the pot. Curiouser and curiouser, they drew near. It's true, they agreed. It would taste better with this. And then another brought that, fooled or warmed by their demeanor, their humor, the ridiculousness of it all. The magic? Something out of nothing. Nothing out of something. Perspective, a science that is mathematically true, or a point of view. Can't you just enjoy? He asks.
9. ¿Quién sabe en qué acepción del verbo essayer estaba pensando Montaigne cuando subió a una de las torres de su castillo y se puso a escribir los 3 tomos de sus ensayos? Ensayar es intentar atinarle a la portería, probar a hacer algo para ejecutarlo después más perfectamente. Es pasear, preparar un espectáculo antes de ofrecerlo al público. Pero en francés les essays también son gustos, preferencias, aquello que disfrutamos sin explicación de por medio, como enamorarse, preferir el color azul sobre el rojo, el bosque sobre la playa. Por eso Montaigne decía que su libro era su carne, que se dibujaba en él de cuerpo entero. Aurelia tiene claro lo que prefiere y cada día se deja engañar menos. Ya no me permite ponerle crema en la cara con el pretexto de untarle polvos mágicos, y sospecho que ha dejado de creerme cuando le digo que tengo en la línea telefónica a Moana, que le suplica que se deje cambiar el pañal. Tras años de comer lo que había en su plato, ahora come lo que quiere y a su ritmo. Desayuna dátiles con nueces, sopea pedazos de manzana en el consomé de pollo y papas fritas en el yogurt. Las personas que la amamos ya no hacemos esfuerzo alguno en disciplinar sus gustos. Preferimos observarla, deslumbrados, y mirarnos unos a otros con complicidad. Miren a la niña que hicimos. Es una fuerza de la naturaleza, un tsunami. Háganse a un lado que nuestro animalito del bosque se dispone a ser feliz.
I make things. I can't even say I like making things because it's what I do. And when they don't turn out, or even, no, especially when they don't turn out, I have to figure out how to compensate, adjust, accommodate, and shift expectations. The aspiration hitting a wall in its physical manifestation. The it dress that year, a settee in the awkward corner of my home, an overabundance of fruit I've grown that I feel obligated to put away for the winter, photographs that struggle against the singular perspective of the lens, a bowl to house the soup I crave, embroidery to fill in holes from moths that feast on my sweaters despite my best efforts otherwise. My two boys are, perhaps, like the stones, a starting point from which what is added has something to do with me, but unavoidably, and the better for it, the world. An unpredictable, uncontrollable, and ongoing tangle of intentions, plans, goals, wants, and needs that are not mine alone, and all the better, theirs.
Lo primero en desaparecer de la casa no fueron las paredes, ni los techos, ni siquiera los picaportes. Lo primero fue el olor a café quemado, cuando la cafetera se derramaba a borbotones, a escupitajos marrones sobre la hornilla. Eso fue lo primero.
The first thing that disappeared from the house wasn't the walls or the roof, not even the doorknobs. The first thing was the smell of burnt coffee. When the pot would spill it boiling, would spit it brown on the stove. That was the first thing.
Una casa no se tiene. Una casa solo se pierde. Así funciona. Un día la casa empieza a diluirse, como arena a la arena.
A house isn't owned. A house can only be lost. That's just how it works. One day it starts to dilute, like sand into sand.
Lo segundo en desaparecer fue el sonido del agua en los samanes, colándose entre las ramas, arrastrando las hojas.
The second thing to disappear was the sound of water traversing the samanes, running through the branches, carrying the leaves away.
Y es que una casa es un despropósito, una rienda para el cielo. Es tu culpa por no haberte percatado. Un lugar así, como un fruto abierto, no está destinado a durar. Los frutos se pudren, sale de ellos un olor de filo dulce que te espanta, cae del techo la caspa, cae la lluvia sucia de sus goteras, se agrietan los cuadros y las fotos y las gentes. Se tapan las tuberías que todas juntas sumaba un río. Se aburren los abuelos muertos en sus esquinas.
A house is an outrageous thing, a rain for the sky. It's your fault for not noticing. A place like that, like an open fruit, isn't destined to last. Fruits rot. Out of them comes a sharp, sweet smell that chases you away. Dandruff falls from the ceiling. Dirty rain falls from the leaks. People, pictures, and paintings crack open. The pipes, the river, their waters once formed together clogs. The dead grandparents are bored in their corners.
Se
And the
acaba el
biggest
misterio más
mystery
grande
of
de
all is
todos,
done for, how
el de
each
cada cosa
object ever
en su
had
sitio.
its place.
Lo tercero en desaparecerse fue la plata viva del día.
The third thing to disappear was the day, its living silver.
La casa y sus paredes jorobadas, sus maderas achacosas, su velocidad idéntica a la rapidez desesperada de los montes. Una casa en una calle, en un barrio, en una ciudad, en un estado, en un país. Pero tu país se lo comió el perro del fin de los tiempos. Se lo tragó el mar y ahora se niega a escupirlo. Lo engulló la tierra, lo masticó la cordillera de los Andes con sus encías pálidas y su colmillo solo. Tu país
ya
ya
no
no
existe.
existe.
Your country is no more. The house and its hunched walls, its ailing wood, its desperate speed, so much like that of the mountains. A house in a street, in a neighborhood, in a city, in a state, in a country. But your country was eaten by the dog at the end of times. It was swallowed by the sea, and now the sea won't spit it back. It was devoured by the earth, chewed by the Andes' pale gums and lonely canine tooth. Your country is no more.
Tu país ya no existe. Desde que te fuiste, caminas de espaldas. Tu nombre se oía como una lombriz en tu pasaporte. Ahí, envejeces en la foto equivocada. Desde que te fuiste, eres un animal de dos pieles.
Since you left, you've been walking backwards. Your name coils like a worm in your passport. You grow old there, in the wrong picture. Since you left, you've become a single animal with two skins.
Ahora te asomas a las ventanas y las rejas de los otros y las tocas como si quisieras limpiar el sol húmedo que las barniza y los años como sal te destiñen las manos.
Now you spy through other people's windows and fences, and you touch them as if you wanted to clean the wet sun that glazes them. And the years, like salt, render your hands colorless.
Lo cuarto en desaparecer fue el suelo. La casa ya no crecía callada, como crece la hierba.
The fourth thing to disappear was the floor itself. The house no longer grew quietly as the grass does.
Ten, toma la casa, toma su esencia, sosténla.
Cuando se acaban sus vigas y sus huesos y se llenan los sus sótanos de arena y cal, vendrán otros y usarán sus piedras para hacer otras casas.
Here, take the house, take its absence tenfold, hold it. When its rafters and bones are done for, and its basement is filled with lime and sand, others will come and use its stones to make another house.
Ten,
Toma la casa, toma su esencia, sosténla. Cuando se acaben sus vigas y sus huesos y se llenan sus sótanos de arena y cal, vendrán otros y usarán sus piedras para hacer otra casa. Here, take the house, take its absence tenfold, hold it. When its rafters and bones are done for, and its basement is filled with lime and sand, others will come and use its stones to make another house.
Ashan sans tlasolale in teutle. Acomotlan tenkistia tohuascan tlahtole. Sayen tlinamo tohuascan. Sayen tlahtowa. Kenen potetic.
Esto no es un escrito. Todavía no sé si esto es una oración, una confesión o un testimonio. Pero por hoy, jalemos por el lado de la oración. Coyote, ¿me tienes máscara? A veces se necesita máscara para las cosas que uno tiene que hablar.
Esta te vendrá bien.
¿Me ayudas?
Esta te vendrá bien, Chiva. Y que no le hablen al chivato. ¿Tú tienes algo que contarnos? ¿Tienes algo que decirnos?
Te quiero tener confianza, Coyote. Me caes bien. Pero mi padre me dijo, no le tengas confianza a los coyotes.
Cuéntame.
Son huraños, traviesos, solitarios. Te buscan el ladro para no encontrarte la frente. Ten cuidado, Chiva. Son cabrones. Así que trucha.
¿Te duele? ¿Está bien?
Habla medio gacho mi padre, ¿verdad, Coyote? ¿Dónde estás, Coyote?
Tlasocamate ni panemboguani. Sente tronali sente tuesin capa. Nanika mo pipilansin. Shimotili nochitok newan to alclarna. To mexicatlalnan. Tlasocamate. Hueito tonki. Intonatio tlasocamati. Tlasocamati nejecacintli. Ipampa nanican tinipatlantica. Tlasocamati tonansin tlalticpacle. Ipampa nanica ninemi ipan moxayacatsin. Tlasocamati inatzintli. Tlasocamati.
Gracias, Coyote. Hay de muchos coyotes. Mi padre es de otro. Coyote, ¿eres joven?
Más o menos.
Coyote, ¿eres viejo?
¿Quién pregunta?
Entonces sí podemos platicar.
Yo tengo que hacer algo.
¿Cómo sabías que soy chiva, Coyote? Así me decían de niña porque me portaba mal. No soportaba a mis abuelas. Me gustaba el rancho y odiaba los vestidos. Decían mis padres, bueno, tú, canija, como chiva loca. Pero si mi padre no quiso que yo fuera chiva, nunca me debió de haber contado sobre la chiva que venció al toro y lo sacó del corral. Pero, Coyote, yo no quiero hablar del rancho. Hay algo que necesito hablar, pero tengo miedo.
¿Miedo?
Sí. Ayúdame con la máscara, Coyote. Coyote, ¿me ayudas?
Sí.
Se me quiere caer. No quiere que yo hable. Porque ves, Coyote. There's a boogeyman in my town. Pick 4 letters from the alphabet. They wear masks that lie. They don't have names. They move during the day and night. They move openly and clandestinely. They roam the skies with eyes that watch. The town calls them ellos. Ellos is not a name. You can do so much without a name, without a face, without a trace. Pero ellos aren't really faceless or traceless or nameless. Coyote, we know where they sleep. The boogeymen? Did you hear me?
In the south?
We know where they
In the
sleep like
north?
an open secret. How do you talk about a secret? Not like this,
In silence, man.
in whispers.
And whispers.
Coyote,
Yeah.
te cuento un secreto.
Sí.
At the edge of town, the camp glows all night. Burnings. Toda la noche la quemazón en grande. De vez en cuando no falta un curioso que se arrima el humo. Coyote,
Sí.
do you know what the curious man sees? I bet you know. Eres viejo. Do you know what they burn? Coyote, I don't want to tell you yet.
Dímelo al cerebro. ¿Qué quiere? En el rancho los queman.
Coyote,
¿A
I
quién?
didn't want to tell you. Hay palabras que se escapan entre mi pueblo y Chicagolandia, pero decirlas es condenar al que las dijo. Y cuando ellos condenan, lo hacen peor que Torquemada. And so the town can only whisper and joke. Bromas pesadas. No, pues compa, ellos son tan benévolos que hasta te evitan los gastos del sepulto. Coyote, ¿tú también tienes historias?
Sí.
Compárteme una.
Ven, chivita. Ayúdame tú también. These are stories of transistors. I hope you learn them. Ayúdame.
Coyote, no me dijiste que tus historias vuelan. Yo quisiera volar, Coyote, volar y volver. Le pregunto a mi familia, ¿ya es tiempo? ¿Ya se puede regresar? Siempre a hesitation. But sometimes someone that misses you terribly on the other end of the phone te grita, bueno, chingado, que en Chicago no hay pistolas ni matones. Mira, todo está bien. Con que no hables, no preguntes, no te salgas y no te duermas bien temprano, no te pasa nada. Ahora dime, ¿cuándo vuelves? La chiva no ha vuelto, pero mi madre sí volvió. No hace mucho. Duró mucho para platicarme algo en un whisper. My mother was hungry. She went back to Jalisco. The gorditas are better there. She went to the stand, al que siempre va. The stand was gone. She saw the shell of a woman whose eyes were darting everywhere. She looked up y le dijo, pero mujer, si aquí estás, ¿hoy no prendiste colmal a echar gordas? The woman startled. She tried to mouth words. Nothing came out. Coyote, do you remember that nightmare? The one when you're a little kid. Y no sale nada, no salen palabras. The woman pulled my mother through the doorway. Ellos están mirando, siempre. ¿Qué tienes, mujer? Le dijo mi madre. Tengo mucho miedo. No le digas a nadie. Fueron a casa. ¿Quién? Ellos. Agarraron a mi nieto por no respetar el toque. ¿El toque de qué? El toque de queda. Ahí lo mataron y se lo llevaron. Nadie sabe. Si ves a mis hermanas, no les digas. Tengo mucho miedo, pero necesito hablar. Como les dije, todavía no sé si esto es invocación, oración, confesión o testimonio. Lo que sí sé es que no soy programa de Netflix. Y lo que sí sé es que no por accidente te llegan las palabras de una mujer en un pueblo que dice, tengo mucho miedo y necesito hablar. Hace 5 años fui a mi pueblo, Coyote. El humo del campo era de ladrillo, quemado. Un humo que te abraza, te cura, te llama. Hoy toda la noche la quemazón en el campo.
I lost my sock.
El Coyote ha visto de todo. El humo ya no huele a ladrillo, huele a...
¿A mota?
Coyote, te voy a decir el secreto. Coyote, allá en el campo, a las orillas, toda la noche, queman a los que se llevan. Queman a los que se llevan.
Quema a los que se llevan.
Queman a los que se llevan. Y yo no puedo seguir whispering.
They burn all they kidnap.
Coyote, there's a boogeyman in my town. Y yo también tengo miedo, pero necesito hablar.
Is he black?
Tengo miedo, pero
Is he white?
necesito hablar.
Is he
Tengo
brown?
miedo y necesito hablar. ¿Me ayudas?
Is this the moment of the animal? We ignite threads in the central direction of an excited tube of glass. While the city becomes the crisis that throws light on the rubbing raw of the globe. We watch the error of the props we've made so that it looks like life. The grave and gravel conducting as water. We could say this is the making and remaking of the idea. We seek the ideal chord to connect the clouds, the smoke that becomes our landscape. Days begin with metal, one bus, one train, and the familiar taste of asphalt, exhaust, and motor. Inside this nostalgia, our home, the opening of our caving in.
Is this our moment of nostalgia? What gave way to a motor monitoring the anatomy of wear? Is this an architecture of metal lace? The transparency of our slow fatigue?
El encaje debe tener huecos. El todo ideal es una cuestión de convenciones del tejido del trabajo, una idea en forma de bolsillo, hecha persona por persona, marcada con el acento grave del incremento ilimitado, una tierra que se escurre. Sublime es el error de una historia en la que podríamos entrar fácil y perfectamente. Las vibraciones de una confusión, una crisis de colibrís que revolotea y revolotea, hasta que se queda quieta y cansada en el drenaje central de una cruda ruptura o desgarre.
I told you that we've come to collect the animal.
You won't find him here in the central light, but in the alley held still. The animal caught between mother's milk and cottonwood, the machine, that always humming crisis machine machining. Anything possible is passable in the error of us consumed with consuming. We take to the grave as a way to define the limits, a handbreadth, the expanse of a lung across a sight, the sovereign idea of a body's weight and the mind's ideal. Every object in nature present in the pressing of concrete or the metal rebar of our tedious height, always stretching. A motor acquiring the powers of nature, the desire to be both tamer and maker. You know our nostalgia for the field that became the city.
Yes, I know the maker motor. A flash before dark, a flash again, dark again, before the nostalgia sets in, asking us why we've rendered to strangers so much of the metal found amid the fillings and filaments, an ideal born of our making of an idea, that we might be the ones to steady the turning and tilting of the earth. It's grave, but a given, that we will keep flinting and burning in error, the fragile forelight of a warning.
Hay que volver a la crisis, al punto donde juntamos nuestras manos y formamos un centro, una piedra central en la garganta de la ciudad. Pídele que se mueva, ese animal que vino a cazar o a esconderse.
What you call a crisis, I might name a conduction. The power and buzz from central node to node, a symphony of birds and airplanes in the park, stringing the animal of us along with its error from wire to wire. What we gave up was an excavation, a grave to bury the waste. Name your idea to electrify the vegetables, the perspiration of the alley and its unrest, emitting a sound, an ideal chorus of cicadas rubbing their wings together, a timbal and timpani, metal meeting the virtue of a motor. We kept waiting again for the storm, the nostalgia of that smell, humid and shocked.
¿Acaso no estamos cansados de los sentidos del metal? ¿Qué nostalgia queda de las nubes cargadas de relámpagos que se infiltran en el cielo?
There's a motor in the distance, an idle rumble. It sounds like us giving up on the idea as it echoes off the heat dome, the ideal blanket of summer. We could go back to that hole, that grave that opened to swallow us in error, our bodies not an offering, but the remnants of a crisis in kind.
En donde quizás se construyó un marco central en el que podríamos insertar el cable al animal, chispa viva que separa la oscuridad del alba.
To say it was night is an error. I recall us building it in morning crisis. We thought everything was a dawning. A thread, a central connection to complete a circuit, pulse and impulse. That animal again that cries outside the door, begging an entrance, an exit from a grave of gravel and tar. We had already flattened our idea of current into the static of a neighbor's open window. Described an ideal by its practicality, the loss and yield that makes a metal. Together, all these bodies impart motion, a motor that hurdles our axis a little faster and faster toward a nostalgia for wonder. I don't know about you, but I miss the curiosity of the ideal. How one acts when there's not a war, scrappers combing for metal in the discards of our lives, the motor of an environment that reminds of us of a shared lack of mercy, a nostalgia nature and us both caring. We might have an idea of how we could start again. Of course, we're fighting against the instinct to pack the grave with all the stuff of the afterlife, those things, the error that brought us to this crisis of belonging and belongings. Name what is central, what you have, what you will let go of. Look for an animal that intrudes but does not need us to survive.
We are enamored of the idea of sleep, the body that can commit no error as it lies still.
Mantengamos la crisis a fuego lento, moviéndola mientras que burbujea alrededor de un fuego moribundo, un ámbar de árboles caídos. Te guste o no, el animal está con nosotros.
A grave thread that returns us to this place where the metal melts and lights the motor under our feet, driving us to and from the nostalgia of that slow night of breath.
The grave and gravel conducting is water. The ideal hold a question of currency, of the quilting of labor. The metal rebar of our tedious height always stretching. The nostalgia sets in asking us why we've rendered to strangers so much. Meeting the virtue of a motor. We kept waiting again. It sounds like us giving up on the idea as it echoes. To say it was night is an error. I recall us building it in mourning this crisis of belonging and belongings around a central dying fire, an ember of fallen trees. The animal we become in the pure dark animal we become.
I have yet to see a coyote, but there are signs alerting us to their presence all over the forest preserve we frequent. We are in their habitat, the sign reminds us. We live in Highland Park, a 10-minute walk from the preserve where the coyotes roam unseen. Before we moved to the suburbs, we lived in the city, and in the city, our son loved and watched nature documentaries. Loved and watched one in particular about a coyote hybrid, half coyote, half wolf, the coy wolf. He insisted that we play this documentary every day for weeks at a time. Now, the coy wolf is actually rarely seen by humans, the documentary claims. Invisible for all intents and purposes. Our son asked us to play the documentary again, to start it over after it had just finished, to see the infrared footage of the coy wolf. We lived in Chicago, and it was a surprise, a happy accident to learn that the coy wolf also lived in the Chicago suburbs. An even bigger surprise years later during the pandemic to learn that a coyote was actually spotted in the city of Chicago proper. In the documentary, we watched on an endless loop. No one sees the coy wolf. We do at home. So do the naturalists. They put a tracking collar on the coy wolf. They have night vision. They follow him, and we follow them. There are families much like ours in the documentary, and these families miss the coy wolf entirely. As parents take their children out on strollers or couples walk their dogs, the coy wolf is right there. We see him. The infrared camera sees him, rather. Our only household animals see the coy wolf. Cats and dogs, alarmed by this wild creature. This is their habitat, I remind myself. Not ours, not our habitat. We are not from here. We have just moved here. We don't belong in these suburbs. We moved during the pandemic, like the coyote. Some families have lived in these suburbs their entire lives. They were born here, they moved briefly for college, then returned. Most of them are white, not us. A neighbor, a father of a friend of my son, told me he has never set foot in Chicago, though he has lived in the Chicago suburbs his whole life. Their habitat, I remind myself, though also we are neither welcome or unwelcome here. We are merely here. We are here nonetheless. Like the coy wolf, we are mostly here and unseen. We are mostly here and unseen and invisible. The coyote takes advantage of pathways built by humans for travel and migration and exploration, chiefly train lines, possibly the same train line I used to get to work. All of us unseen except by household animals. All of us invisible.
el amor, agua, agua, water. Please join us.
Ven a hablar con nosotros.
Con nosotros, por favor. Agua, agua,
Water,
water, agua,
water, agua, water, agua, water, agua.
como lluvia.
Agua.
Gracias. El perfume.
Fluían moléculas y piña, hije.
Terciopelo, velvet, tierra, ventana, moon, molecules, flower.
Child, hije, offspring.
Estrogens.
Flowed y pineapple.
Sweetness, luna fluía.
Moléculas, terciopelo, hije.
Tierra, moon, and sweetness. We flowered, fluíamos. Los malos pensamientos.
Ruminations.
Ahogarnos el miedo.
Drown fear.
Los brotes de locura, outburst of madness, grief y pena. Cuerpos con espinas, bodies, thorns, hammocks, rotas.
Encarnar.
Tragic narratives left.
Imprints on the skin.
Fluir en lunas muertas, new moons, flow. Hija, hije, hijo. Tornando hilos de vestidos raros. Twisting threads, thin. Sin cobijo, nor warm. Salir afloat.
Reach the shore.
A la orilla, recuperar del terciopelo.
Recover from velvet, moons.
Walk la tierra, tornar a las andadas. Open a window, return. Y encontrar cuerpos sedosos, sweet.
Pineapple aroma a piña.
Hilos de conexión y vida. Life, hije, child, offspring. Good times.
Alumbramiento de agua, de water.
Springs, hilos, threads.
Y un vestido que brota.
And a moon peeking through the window, la ventana.
Laughing.
Eres tú y la tierra.
It's you and the earth. Threads. Hilos de la tierra. Brotas, terciopelo. Earth. Spring, velvet. Es el vestido de nuevo. It is the dress again. La luna que alumbra y ríe.
Moonlight.
Laughter.
Está loquísima esta naranja. Un momento.
¿Disfruta?
Sí. Esto es muy pellicer. ¿Quién me compra una naranja para mi consolación? ¿Está? La madness, locura. Will, tornar a la hamaca, return to the hammock, de nuevo a la hamaca, hilos y orilla, tornando short ebbs, en retorno to the hammock, threads back again, y la pena, tornar de tuerca, and pena, returns a la hamaca, pesadumbre, grief, red, tornara de un salto, Will leap back, de nuevo to the hammock, return, al tortuoso, tornado, tornara a la hamaca, twister, turns, la hammock. Las nightmares, pesadillas. Bestias soñé, a feroz revelation.
Tiempos de war, howling at the moon.
Intolerancia, voices sin fortuna, cloud and deceived understanding. White señorías, un happy son, longing con su barra en cuna, to quell diversidad, a light that soon fades, amor y compasión que never grow. Lawyers lanzan sharp claims al viento, preaching que sí, la tierra es flat, and around it cocodrilos la rondan. A change the nightmare.
Abrir la ventana.
Open a window.
Flowers.
Piñas. Pick up the threads. Recupera. Dress in otherness esta mañana.
La muerte.
La muerte.
Luna que torna el día.
Luna que torna el día.
Moon that turns the day.
Moon that turns the day.
Alumbramiento, espero. Spring, I wait.
Spring, I wait.
Mi dulzura en la orilla de un retoño.
Mi piel, una dulzura en la orilla de un retoño.
Torna el cuerpo en guía.
Torna el cuerpo en guía.
Shore, sprout, skin, sweetness.
Shore, sprout, skin, sweetness.
The body becomes a guide.
The body becomes a guide.
Estrogen, molecules, tierra, agua, sweetness.
Estrogen, molecules, tierra, agua, sweetness.
Espera.
Espera. Vida. Vida y life.
Amamantar en sweetness, estrógeno.
Amamantar en sweetness, estrógeno.
Florecer, luna, moon, bloom. Molecules y orilla, ebb y flow.
Florecer, luna, moon, bloom. Moléculas y orilla, ebb y flow.
El suffering.
El suffering.
No es easy to embody la pena, hije.
No es easy to embody la pena, hije.
Ni to flow or bloom en esta tierra.
En esta tierra.
Que keeps us in fierce guerra.
Sin soul nor heart or shelter. Yet today, abre las ventanas wide. Hije, wear el vestido, walk en la tierra. Let go grief y pena allá en la sierra.
Que el retorno al camino calce panzas.
Flow atentas a un tender corazón.
Que will learn new gentle ways to push away suffering
in togetherness. Calm el alma. Una invocación de vers que sing sin sorrow su canción. Cantan de corazón y strange, they offer keys, llaves.
El tiempo.
El tiempo.
Water.
Agua, please.
Water. Agua. Water. Agua.
Como lluvia.
Water.
Agua, 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 agua,
Water.
agua,
Agua.
Water. Agua. Amamantar bodies que brotan.
Encarnarnos the skin in sweetness.
Estrógenos, moléculas floreciendo.
Tornar to the hammock.
Sometimes. Moon's
thread.
thread. Hija, hije, hijo. Molecules, orilla
y
piña. Tan, 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 tan. ¿Listo? ¿La llave? Perfecto. Vamos.
Yeah, let's give another round of applause to all the performances. How good were all those performances?
I don't know, man. My cup overfloweth, and the cockles are burning.
Now, we're not quite done yet. Before we go out into the cash bar out there, we have a lot of thank yous to give. So why don't we start with the stars of tonight, of the Lit Luz Festival, and we're going to do it in the order of the performances that you saw. So let's begin with Isabel Zapata and Laura Latinsky. Adalber Salas Hernandez and Edra Soto, and performers Marcy Ray Henry, Estefania Mena,
Mitch Monroy.
Mitch Monroy,
And Tina Wang.
and Tina Wang, Nancy Garcia Loza and Fernando Palma Rodriguez, Carrie Olivia Adams and Alejandro Almanza Pereda, Juan Martinez and Galia Ivanschutz, Flor Flores and Marisela Guerrero, and our very, very special musical guest, Beats y Batería, up here.
Lit Luz is brought to you by a whole host of supporters, partners, sponsors, and wait for it, mostly volunteer staff. We would not be here without the generosity of the National Endowment for the Arts, Poetry Foundation, and National Association of Latino Arts and Culture. We're also sincerely grateful to the MCA, Illinois Humanities, Chicago Art Department, and UIC Center for Latinx Literature of the Americas. Deep thanks go out to the Mexican Consulate, Union League Club of Chicago, el Museo Universitario del Chopo, the Department of Visual Arts at the University of Chicago, Interprenet, and Northwestern University's Department of Spanish and Portuguese, and there are many more listed on the back of our program. Putting on my board member hat for a sec, if you like what you see, you can support too. Now, it doesn't have to be with cold, hard cash, but if you're instinctively reaching for your phone to scan that QR code on the back of the program, to donate now, don't stop. But you can also participate in a wide variety of ways, like these folks.
Yeah, these folks. I'm gonna name a bunch of people that have a lot of them that have made this all possible. The heart and soul of the festival that helped with every step of the process, from the planning to the making this thing happen. And I want to begin with someone really close to me here, Camila Foreman. An artistic associate. Joel Craig, also an artistic associate. Our collaboration cohort coordinator is Amanda Goldblatt. It is a really long list, so I think I might have to ask you to hold your applause. So please hold your applause. I'm gonna name everyone. Our writing workshop coordinators, Antonio Diaz Oliva. Media relations coordinator, Alicia Gorder. Social media coordinator, Sarug Serrano. Our translators and editors, Ana Lucia Cornejo, Ryan Green, and Claudia Di Ibechia. Tonight's interpreters are Angelica Davila and Pedro Pablo Marin. Programming associates are Jessica Ann, Hector Garcia Chavez, and Kathleen Rooney. Advisory council is Carla Faisler, Jaime Garza, Kirsten Linars, and Gibran Villalobos. The exhibition curators are Esteban King, Nikki Nee, and Kaylee Stevens. Our visual arts director from Chicago is Cespo Velasquez. Our visual arts director from Mexico is Esteban King. Our founding artistic director is Daniel Borzutsky.
I want to do one.
I was going to do this one, but...
No, I'll do it. Our literary arts director and book club founder is Miguel Jimenez.
It's me. Thank you. Our live show managing director is Madeline Nesbitt, who's up there. And up there with her are some amazing pros, Ralph Loza, Matt Sharp, and Troy Cruz of the MCA. Evan Watkins and Nate Perez of the MCA, as well as Jessica Ann and Paddy Padilla, have been wrangling us all back there backstage. And our partnership and sponsorships coordinator is Angelica Davila. And our assistant managing director is Mario Gastelum. And our grant writer is John Bateman. Let's give them all a round of applause.
So each year, we try to come up with some new way to describe the immense work of our founder and managing director, Sarah Dodson. At this point, the debt we owe her for what she's given to Chicago for almost 20 years is big, like federal bailout big.
Big.
But our board, composed of Natalie Edwards, Hector Garcia Chavez, Carolina A. Herrera, Laurie Sartain, Mike Zapata, and I have a few ideas. And if you follow us on our socials at Make Lit or join our mailing list, you can help Make Literary Productions, the backing organization behind Lit and Luz, celebrate Sarah and our 20th anniversary next year.
Now, we're not done yet. When we say that it's a 2023-2024 Lit and Luz Festival, it means that we're still gonna present a second half of this, but this time in Mexico City. That's gonna be March 12th through the 16th. So why don't you pack your bags and
come on down.
Come on down and meet us over there. Again, that's March 12th through the 16th. There's gonna be gallery talks, artists, performances, all by these Chicago-based artists that you saw tonight. and of course the Mexican artists that live there. So please join us out there for all those events, and of course the live magazine show Redux.
So stick around for a couple more songs by Beats y Batería, and join us in the lobby to toast the close of this cycle, the Chicago edition for 2023-24, Lit Luz, the live magazine show. Muchas gracias a todos.
Thank you very much.
Buenas noches.
Good night. Good night.
sube a nacer conmigo, hermano, dame la mano desde la profunda zona de tu dolor diseminado, sube a